magic even. Okay, I am back. Oh, look, I'm champion. I was in jeopardy, baby. Ooh, in jeopardy, baby. Ooh. Very nice. Okay. Oh, mm, that extremely hard. Huh. I know I shouldn't be playing game, but I was in jeopardy. I don't know the rest of the words of the song. I was in Jeopardy, and Weird Al did a spoof that. I was on Jeopardy, like the game show back in the day. Okay. Boom. Won that with level two. Uh, okay, give me a quick second. I was in the middle of the game, and this is match three game that um, you can pay to actually help improve your chances of winning, but I've never paid anything yet. So like I'm on level 5810, which means I've been playing it for a long time. Um, Recently they made it kind of hard, kind of like super hard. Okay, so where were we? All right, let's restart the seven-step process with the new application you made to it, and for slight clarification, uh, and go through and start over with the second story beat. Rolling. Okay, okay. Step one, action. Roland approaches the entrance. Action. Old door delivers news. Reaction. Roland decides to go to the mines. Action. Primarily action. Meaningful choice. Could the player influence how Roland experiences the beat? For example, how he reacts to the news or how he approaches the mine, cautiously, boldly. Outcomes fixed. He must enter the mine. So yes, experience-based choices are possible, but no choice will alter story progression. Okay. Uh, yes, please. Ooh, this one looks like a difficult. Um, can the just affect story character state? When it tracks persistent states, yet the player's choice could affect Roland's immediate behavior or tone, but it won't change the story outcome. No effective tracks state, but fine for an experienced choice. Uh, consequences immediately or delayed. Any choice how Roland reacts to the news, how he approaches the mine, has immediate flavor impact. No delayed consequences since the story continues linearly. Okay. Step 5 is outcome distinguishable. If the player chooses a bold approach versus a cautious approach, visually or narratively distinguishable, yes. Still converges on the same story event in their mind. Okay. Do all choices ultimately lead to the same story outcome? Yes, Roland enters the mind regardless of choice. Fixed story outcome. Player only affects experience. Does this choice make the player feel engaged, informed, or influential? Yes, choosing how Roland reacts or approaches gives the player a sense of agency in the journey, even though the end beat is fixed. Valid experience decision point. Sneaks cautiously. Mutters equipped about dwarves and mines moving humorously. All paths converge. Um, yes. Yes, please. Um, okay. Oh, darn it. Oh. Alright, let's do this. Okay. On there, notice all kinds of people. Spots giant chains. Meaningful choice. Could the player decide how Roland explores? Examples. Investigate quietly. Try to talk to workers. Um, you can. But well, keep this in mind that finding that the way to find the entrance can be an actual decision point area, and in fact, I can design it to where it will lead to a puzzle creation later. But please continue with the steps to see what more the process can show us. Okay, well done. Can the choice affect the story and character state? I did this thing where I had every other like 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, because you'd have something happen, and then the decision point would be afterwards. It'd be something that happens as a result of that, or vice versa. You'd have a decision point at the front, and then you'd have it the other way around. In this case, if we did that, um, this step, uh, it would have to be like 2 and 4, but 2 and 3 might still work though, even though that's not the way it's been structured lately. Let me look at my cards here in my game here. 140. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'll leave that there. There's a time thing on the game, so I keep on going back and forth. Like I probably shouldn't. I know I'm not doing very well lately. At least this week. Maybe next week I'll be more on the ball. Uh, no persistent state tracking yet. Player could choose how Roland finds the entrance. Path taken approach style. This could affect the player's sequence of discovery, but story outcome remains the same. Um. Okay. Consequences immediate delayed. Immediate approach discovery. Okay. Step 5 is the outcome distinguishable. Player could see different tunnels or methods. In the known kingdom, different encounters or sites along the way. Still converges on Roland spotting the giant. Do all choices ultimately leads? Yes. Reach the giant. Different choices only color the path taken. Does this choice make the player feel engaged? Yes. Choosing how to approach or explore gives the player a sense of agency. Valid experience decision point. Okay. Um, can be a decision point, right? Uh, let's see. Can it affect the story? Ultimately has to get into the mind somehow. So if we, yeah, I mean, I guess almost, almost shouldn't be should it can it affect the story, but just can it get affect the character state? But I don't know. We'll just keep going. Um, yes, please. All right. Okay. That's jam it and then converts it. They talk for a bit. Roll initiates conversation, action. Giant responds and shares information. Reaction. Overall, the beat is a mix, but primarily reaction. The story is mostly delivering exposition. Beat is primarily reaction. Who the player influence that? Okay, sure. thing. Oh, I can do that, can I? Hmm. Uh, no, persistent player choices here to affect flavor. How relevant responds. Immediate delayed, immediate conversation tone or sequence changes. Delayed. Does the choice. Disengage in the altering the story. Uh, Now we're just dealing with chapter 11. Let's see some here. Chapter 11. At the moment, I have to kind of make a decision. Traditionally, the chapters have followed a pattern of either even or odd story beat decision points. In this case, the first beat is more or less a cut scene, and it's related to these chapters, but is not directly influencing the rest of the chapter. So that leaves the last three. The reason for the even odd pattern is that sometimes you set up um, sometimes you set up something in the first beat, sort of like an inciting incident, and then uh, then take action as a result. And other times, you'd lead off with a decision point, and then a reaction beat, then another decision point. Well, since the first one is already just a it's just showing the player the machine. The other three are the only ones that will have can have a decision point. However, the strongest candidates are 2, and 3. And 4, not exactly. However, if I chose 2 and 3 to receive the decision points, does that throw anything off pacing wise or whatever? Awesome. Okay. Beat 1 is a pure cutscene and sets up max machine gives context, no player agency needed. You're inciting incident world set up perfect. Beat 2 and 3, rolling entering the mines and finding the secret entrance. Prime candidates for experienced decision boards are action heavy. Let the player shape how they experience exploration and discovery. You got natural flavor. Beat 4, talking to the giant, less strong because it's mostly exposition. Adding decision point here wouldn't have much meaningful engagement. Flavor can still exist. You might skip a formal decision point to avoid breaking flow. 2 experience, 2 and 3 left. Okay, I guess we could think of it as one decision point. So 2 is setup, 3 is payoff. But with 2, meaning 2 can be a flavor action. Let me look here. And in fact, I could put the decision points as part of the conversation. Think a dialogue tree where they would briefly chat. I might even possibly figure out a way to give the player a small feeling of agency with how he enters the dwarf mines. So the dwarf mines are adjacent to the gnome kingdom. In the gnome kingdom, our main villain, Max, is mining Quicksilver ore for his machine. So, this dwarf mine entrance would just be more or less flavor. Like maybe he decides to approach the front gate front gate or whatever, or decide to sneak in via a side passage. Something of this nature. Story changing. Okay. Let's give you a single satisfying decision point. Also, I could even structure it so that this is the way he talks to the old dwarf he knows. So if he goes in the front way, if he gets ready to go in the front way, the dwarf stumbles out, and if he goes in the side passage, then he meets that same dwarf within the mines. It seems to not be a bad idea. Then, not be a bad idea. Two different ways, but they serve the same purpose. Mission failed my butt. Oh. Okay. Mm, there we go. Okay, let's go back to the deal. Okay, sorry about that. I'm playing a game. I shouldn't be addicted to my phone games here. Front gate approach. Side patch, sneaky approach. I'm slightly surprised to see him there. Dialogue plays out slightly differently. Contextual player, the door could come in and roll and sneak it in, but it moves toward the Gnome Kingdom. Player feels meaningful choice. Front versus side gives different experiences of the same beat. Single decision point for chapter. Player / action dialogue combo. No extra branching overhead. Both approaches converge to the same story flow. Foreshadowing puzzle setup. The side passage could later become an actual optional puzzle route in future phases. It's clean, maintains your linear phase 1 structure, but adds agency and engagement without complicating tracking. Um, no thanks. I will write this down, and once we've identified decision point locations and possible options, and I've recorded them, I will decide how to proceed to create the actual options from there. Okay. All right. So, I'm gonna do this. Oh, whoops. An old dwarf. If Roland decides to go in via the front entrance, else if he decides to take a side entrance, a side in entrance, then old dwarf Roland knows is stumbling towards front entrance when Roland encounters him. There we go. Roland, okay. Okay, we'll kind of leave it like that, set up the way that is. Okay. Now, uh, I'll just do a thing here where it's not exactly what it looks like, but we'll do it like this. Roland here. Roland searches for the secret entrance into the Roland finally finds the secret entrance. Finally finds the secret entrance. Finally finds the secret entrance. Fall in there, and kind of do it like that, sort of. Yeah, let's do it like this. Let's put it like this. Okay. Okay, so I guess we now work on chapter 12. That's the one where the one where Roland makes his way to Scarborough Fair Chicken. This was a question I asked myself. How does he find Hubert? Uh, because he doesn't really know to look at SFC, or um, at least it doesn't seem. At least he doesn't seem to fit. He doesn't really know to look at SFC. Or at least I didn't write anything about how he finds him. Ultimately, he's not at SFC, but the count is, which helps him get in touch with Hubert. Okay. Beat. Let me do my thing here. Hold on. Doggone it. Ticks me off. Hmm. All right, I made it. All right. Now back to the thing here. Okay. Uh, trying to find Hubert as a landmark. Let's run through the 7-step process. So, this can probably. I'd already thought about this. That this is probably a prime candidate for a decision point because he has to actively find it. And so later on, it can be a puzzle or some sort of way. Beat. Okay. That isn't exactly the beat, though. I mean, it is, but it's okay. I don't even mind. It's fine. This is still not making up stuff. It's still, in essence, what the beat is. He discovers Roland actively goes to SFC action, discovering the count their reaction exposition overall primarily action since Roland is searching. Meaningful choice available. Could the player choose how Roland searches or explores? Look around the square, ask passersby, follow the signs, peek into shops. Outcome is fixed. He finds accounts, story continues. Experience-based choice is possible. Good. Um, yes, please continue. Okay. I hate this kind of level. Mm, 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 mm. No, doggone it. Mm-mm. Here we go. At least got one there. Oh, that will work if that will work doubly. Okay. Can the choice affect no persistent state tracking? Player could influence how Roland searches or the order of approach of interactions, but the story he finds the count and can contact Hubert. Okay. And the more important part is finding Hubert, so the count doesn't necessarily need to. Anyways, yeah. Me, the approach or style gives a different narrative player, delayed, story continues linearly. Is the outcome distinguishable? Yes. Choices could lead to Roland wandering the square, observing the crowd, asking someone directly, prompting a dialogue, noticing subtle clues, the hint at the count's location. Roland always reaches the count to enable the next beat. Fix story outcome. Does this choice make the player feel engaged, informed, or influential? Yes, the player decides how the Roland investigate a set FFC, given a sense of agency and engagement, even though the outcome is fixed. Conclusion, valid experience, decision point. Roland casually scans the square. Okay, that's all right. All paths lead to the count, but the player shapes how the search feels. Uh, yes, please. And actually, I kind of already know how this is gonna go because this is just it just gets them together basically. So, okay, so Roland uh, and honestly, it says he uh, Roland searches for a way to find Hubert. Eventually, uh, making his way uh, to oh, okay, we'll just leave it like that. Walks slowly in a restaurant. Yeah. So I can kind of save it like this and keep it like this. Looks around, starts asking about Hubert until he's getting the count. The count. Pleasant. Count tells Hubert. From here, after the got Roland tells him. Oh, see, there's. Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. Uh, right. This is the action, searching for Hubert. Then this is the result, finding Hubert, and then the information. And then this is another action one, and then this is another result one. So, um, yes, please. But I can already tell you how it will work. Although we should still go through these steps. But basically, beat one is Roland searching for Hubert. Beat two is the result of that search, where they find out the final piece of information they need. Okay. Three is that Roland and John head to the mines while um, Hubert and Sir William. He is a unicorn. He was he was once a knight turned in, turned into a unicorn. Um, and then Hubert's problem with magic uh, allows him to turn Sir William a flying unicorn. Actually, I might could not leave him as a unicorn. Maybe he should become a flying horse. Eh, you know. Um, and beat 4 is just the result. However, beat 3 still needs some thinking about how to actually produce a decision point there. But for yes, uh, but yes, please let's continue beat to the process. Okay. Okay, that kind of worked. There we go. And there we go. Booyah. See? You win. You win. Congratulations. Awesome. Okay, now let's get back to the let's get back to the game. Uh okay. Alrighty. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. Uh no. Okay. That's not exactly beat two. Here, let me refresh your memory. So to speak. Beat one. What the? Alright. Copy. Paste. Beat two. Copy. Paste. Sure. Beat three. Sure. Beat four. Copy. Okay. Oh. I still got. Alright. Do this like this. Okay. That makes the beat much better. It rings the bell. Count returns and gives Hubert the info. On. Action. Count flies in, delivers information. Reaction. Roland reports on Max's minds. Gate plans action. Overall mix, but primarily reaction because the story is delivering exposition to Hubert and the player. Meaningful choice available. Could the player influence how Roland or Hubert interacts here? Maybe choose how Roland reports info. Possibly choose how Hubert responds briefly. Outcome is fixed. Information exchanged. Moves beat 3. Can the choice affect the story character? No, player choice will only affect tone. Immediate dialogue or tone. None. Story continues linearly. Roland's solid reporting Hubert's reaction could make the scene feel serious and urgent. Play for Step 6. Do all the choices ultimately lead to the same story outcome? Yes. This choice. Oh. Hmm. Um. Sure. We'll let you know my thoughts when we've gone through all beats. Chapter 12. You would cast a spell. Could the player influence how this beat is experienced? Maybe Roland chooses how he heads into the mines, or how Sir William responds to Hubert's spell. But not plot. Immediate. It'll just ultimately lead to the same story outcome. Yes. Everyone reaches their destination as scripted. B3 can support a decision mainly for the approach. Huh. See, I didn't ever thought about that. Because okay, so B2 is not going to have any kind of a choice because B2 is just it's relaying information, right? It's the information. When I said final piece of the puzzle, he didn't understand, but the final piece of the puzzle is the fact that they're using lots of Quicksilver. So they have the plans of the Omnigate. They see the people are enslaved. Probably some additional information that Roland's dad gives to them. Okay, and so now that they know that it needs it, Hubert already realized that Max could open a small portal with the device. That you don't need intention, and you don't need to hold on to a piece of Quicksilver to do it. So he's already figured that out, and so, um, and then, so the okay, so the resulting thing here I'm still a little weak when I wrote the story about. Hmm, see something here. I told it to stop this stupid gibberish. Feels and that's weird. How come it still shows it? Oh, well, I'll delete it myself, I guess. Uh, okay. So, anyways, let me continue with this again. Okay. So, yeah, strictly speaking, the like okay, so like the first thing is what was beat 3 again? Let me look at it. Beat 3 again. Beat 3 was what's this? Okay. So here okay, so here is searching for Hubert. Here is they find Hubert, then they relay the information. They make their plans, okay? Then this is the result. This is their plan of attack. They have to go into the mines, and Sir William and Hebert have to go to the castle. Specifically, Hebert has to go to the castle, but it uses Sir William to help him get there. Okay, so honestly, uh, let me think of something. I'll think of something. Ultimately, they have to be flying in the air, so Sir William's got to be flying regardless. So I can't be like, okay, let's travel by, galloping to wherever they're going, to the castle, I mean. And he can't get up to the castle anyways without flying. So the only other option would be to get on a flying train. Now, he's a unicorn, he's a four hoofed animal, so he's not going to be flying on a train, or at least maybe they'd have a train like I'm sure they ship cattle on trains, and I'm sure they ship horses on trains at some point. So that could be a thing that could exist, but in this case, the only real deal is either through flying train, or he's got to fly himself, or there's got to be some sort of magic spell that gets him there. But in any case, this can't be a change. It's just got to be the way that it works. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's go through it briefly because you're right. It's just a reaction beat. Okay, let's see if I can. All right. Uh, except to no player has no interaction here. It's purely narrative setup for the next beat or chapter. Not applicable. No choice. No state. No agent. Not a decision point. Just a reaction. Um. Okay. So I don't see beat two as a decision point worthy. It's more or less exposition. Not in the strictest sense of telling the audience uh, instead of showing, but uh, the final piece of the puzzle uh, I was referring to earlier has to do with um, Max's plans and how our heroes find it out. So in an earlier chapter, Hubert finds Hubert is searching. Was there university and notices a scepter missing from a trophy case. Enter realm games back when Interrealm will say collegiate. Cool. How do you spell collegiate? Collegiate. Okay, I knew that, and I was in there. I just didn't remember where. When it was just a regular Magic Kingdom. And it wasn't tripping any of the wards, but it was still using a form of magic. So what Hubert deduced was that someone had created a device to open a small portal that didn't use standard portal magic. Okay. Then the princess is kidnapped and held in the Grand Enchanted Landian Hotel, and she manages to get a hold of a set of blueprints with the name Omni Gate on the top. So now, when Roland meets up with them, they're okay. Also, during the course of Hubert's investigation of the lands, citizens and tourists start disappearing. But we now find out they're being enslaved in Max's mines in the kingdom to mine huge amounts of Quicksilver ore for his machine. Now here's where the story is admittedly a little weak. How come Max needs all the Quicksilver when his device doesn't use it? Well, to open gates into multiple realms at the same time with enough room to march armies through, he needs massive amounts of power, of magical power, we'll say, magical power. So that's why he's mining the ore. The princess was, well, and although this isn't really important to our discussion, the princess was kidnapped because her people, the realm of verdance, because her people had found a refining process that takes refining Quicksilver from 70% to 95% pure. eventually, that route doesn't pay off for Max, but he finds additional workforce uh, from another character, um, which I've already um, explored in some other previous chapters. Okay. I don't know why I keep on saying this, but so at this point, all the puzzle pieces are in place, and so now they need to act. Clarifies everything. So beat 2 in chapter isn't a candidate for decision point at all. It's pure exposition, final piece of the puzzle beat. It connects all the dots for the player. Max is enslaving people to mine Quicksilver for the Omni Gate. The Princess Blueprints explain the device. Hubert, Roland, and John now have all the info they need to act. There's no meaningful choice here because the information is fixed, but the player has no opportunity to influence how it's discovered. Keep decision points focused on beat 1, which is fine. Beat 3, um, um, not yet. So, yeah, even beat 3 doesn't leave much room for agency. However, because I probably need a few more pages in this chapter, and we want the player to feel they have a role, um, then I'll do the flavor character thing for this chapter, for this beat. From John's departure, maybe a short choice of approach or attitude. Bold, cautious, humorous. Sir William reacting the Hebert spell. Slight variations, even if it don't affect outcomes, they stretch the beat into multiple pages, make the player feel like they're influencing the scenes. Good approach. Not yet. In fact, I'm going to write if you I'm going to modify the text a bit so that I remember where I'm going to put these points, and then I'll be starting on chapter 14. The process. Just a few moments, please. Okay. Hmm. Well, it looks like I'm gonna lose this one in my game here. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Uh, Roland has figured out the most logical place to find keyword. Actually, that won't be real hard either, because I just thought of that. Orthogonality or the Renaissance Fair, whatever you want to call it, is where all the hotels and stuff is. So while he can be anywhere, he can be in different things. The most likely place to start would be the fair. Then he has to find out what building, what place that he would be. But okay, and this one is um okay. This beat is mostly for character flavor. How Bert will get served by. And really, that's all I can really do in that. So, okay, let's save that. Okay. Okay, so the chapter 14. These are the beats of chapter 14. Copy. Here's chapter 15's beats. And it's about time for me to go, though. Continue. Awesome. More coins. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Ooh, we got a hard, super hard level. Super hard. I hate the super hard levels. Okay, perfect. So the beats are rolling. Uh, actually, each line grouping is a beat, so there are only 4 here as well. Separated by a space, i.e. return or line feed. Right. Will and John go back in the Gnome Kingdom and locate Max's office. Spot the dwarfs hide and gag them while sneaking in. Roland easily snaps the bombs, holding them. Roland and John are then surprised and captured by the gnomes. In the minds, the gnomes promptly put John and Roland and the rest to work. After a bit, John signals the dwarves to overpower the guards. There's an explosion that seems to come from one of the mine walls. When smoke clears, the train disappears. Chamber pops out. Back in the mines. And back in the mines is because of the way the story beat goes. Um, a couple of things to note when I put back in the mines was when the old version had separated story beats and weren't grouped into chapters. And do have a little bit of an issue with beats and 4 and the order. I might have to reconfigure beat 3 to have I might have to change beat 3 and leave off Hubert popping out, so that should probably be a reveal. So as soon as they start releasing slaves, then Hubert needs to show up. Anyways, my time is up for today, and I won't be back until Monday, even though that means nothing to you. I could possibly do a bonus on the weekend, in which case it won't be Monday yet, but I can correct. I can tell you that if that happens. So thanks for the help today. And we'll resume next time I'm on. Okay. Okay. So we have 10 turns on this super. Man. Awesome. I won that level too. Okay. Okay, so, oh, hey, Rook. Sorry, it's about time for me to go now. It's right here at the end here. So, um, I had to modify something though here. So I've identified places where I'm gonna have the decision points. I got the decision points for 11. 12 is a little more iffy. I got the places to put the decision points, but I don't for sure haven't come up with the actual choices that are made. And then 14, 14 I have to do that. Hubert finds John and Roland. And then Roland. He shouts for everyone to head to the Bats and the Valkyrie. We'll just leave it like that. And save, and that's done. Good. Okay, now let me do my little recording. Recording. Today is Friday, February 27th, 2026, and today I did get some stuff done on the actual game. I frittered away part of part one today, but managed to start on the new seven step process with ChatGPT to determine where decision points should go. Um, I might try to do 13 myself, but at the moment I'm going through it with ChatGPT right now. So we've decided where to put. Yeah, I've decided where to put decision points in here, uh, where when Roland approaches the mine, he either go through the front entrance, which it plays out as I originally wrote it, where a dwarf stumbles out and tells him about his dad. But there's also an optional choice of having to go through a side entrance, and he encounters the same dwarf and gets the same information, but it happens in a different place. Then an unusual thing is that beat 3 is going to also have a deal, and that's where he's searching for the secret entrance to the known kingdom because he doesn't exactly remember. In earlier versions of the story, he kind of remembered where it was, but in this, to give you some agency, he's got to find it, and so there's that. And then chapter 12 has got two beats where he's trying to find Hubert, and he encounters the Count at Scarborough Fried Chicken. Then when he meets up with Hubert and the rest of the gang, he tells them that they're mining a lot of Quicksilver ore, and they put that as the last piece of the puzzle. They find out that it's used for the machine, and that the machine still needs that, even though it can open portals anywhere now without a person or intent. It can just open them as long as they can find the frequency to it, and so so they need to mine. They need the magic amplification power, so they mine the huge amounts of Quicksilver. And then Hubert sends Roland and John into the mines, and back into the mines, really. But Roland and John into the mines, and him and Sir William head to the castle. And then the Black Knight spots them while he's riding around the episode. He spots them in the air. And then chapter 14 doesn't have decision points yet because I had to rearrange a little bit that, and don't have enough time to go through with ChatGPT the 7-step process for finding decision points here. I almost think I could do it by myself, but I'm gonna let it do it. And then when it comes to 13, which is almost a standalone, even though it's kind of still part of the same story, it's essentially the battle between Sir William and the Black Knight in the air. So that'll have some kind of decision points, but I'll go through the process myself without using the AI to do it. Okay, and that's all I did this time today. Okay, I guess that about wraps it up for today. Sorry, Rook, that you didn't get in here earlier, but thanks for popping in anyways. I appreciate it. And I will see everybody on Monday if I don't do a bonus stream during the weekend, which I probably won't. I could still do it, but I probably won't. So I'll probably just see everybody Monday, and we'll finish up these 3 chapters. Yeah, goodbye. Okay, so anyways, yep. Thank you for watching part 2.